lovely friends, it's Margaret, and it's time to nerd out about Once Upon a Time. So look, we have new art from my fairy loot box. The unboxing will be up at some point in time during my life. But let's get into what we're here for today. In theory, tonight is the last ever episode, or last brand new episode of Once Upon a Time. It's been going on for 7 seasons. I have been watching it since the very, very beginning. I fell off a little bit, but I came back like at the end of season 3, and I have been going hard ever since, like 4, 5, 6, 7. I have loved every single season of this show, and it has been such an important part of my life, and the main character, Emma Swan, has been such an important part of my life because she just was such a fantastic character. Speaking of which, I am wearing a fandom shirt. It's a fandom inside joke, but I figured this was the last chance I'd get to wear it for realsies. Anyways, I am doing a book recommendation tag based on 8 of the characters from Once Upon a Time and 1 ship. I'm not going to be doing too much shipping stuff because I know it gets complicated with ships, but who are we kidding? This is Margaret. If it's not a ship for her to root for, she's not gonna be invested, which is part of my problem during season 3. No, that was love triangles. I hate love triangles so much, especially when they're just there for drama. I'm not here to get into shipping stuff or any of that shipping war. If you want to do that, go find someone on Tumblr to argue with. I am not here for that. I am here to enjoy the show that I have been watching for 7 years and enjoying every minute of it. I get that ships are ships and you ship what you want. Without further ado, we're gonna get into the first question. I have questions here. I'm going to read them out to you. I'm actually surprised that none of the answers on here involved Six of Crows. But actually, no, I'm not surprised. I just felt like I'd been talking about Six of Crows way too much. So I tried not to choose it for any, but there are like 6 questions here that I could have used Six of Crows for. I hope you admire my restraint. Question number 1 is Snow White. Name a book that gives you hope. I might have been able to not put Six of Crows in this video, but it would not be a Margaret video if she did not mention Percy Jackson. You've heard me talk about it. I'm not going to go into the plot. It's about a kid who finds out that his father is Poseidon, and all Hades breaks loose. So the story behind Percy Jackson and why it gives me hope, and why reading it every time gives me hope, and why I love it so much, is because I read Percy Jackson at a time when I had been doing a lot of reading for school. It was my last year of college. I'd taken 2 Victorian Lit classes like back to back because I love Victorian Lit, but some of it is very depressing. But so I picked up the Percy Jackson series. My dad had given me a gift card for Christmas or something. Yeah, he gave me a gift card for Christmas, so I picked up the first 3 books, flew through those, went through the last book. I just remember reading it and remembering that I liked reading. Reading was fun. I enjoyed it. Every time I read this series, the way it makes me feel just reminds me of why I want to be a writer and how much I love reading. So that's why this book gives me hope. Number 2, name a romantic trope that you are a diehard for. That one is going to be the enemies/frenemies to lovers trope, which will be exemplified by Howls moving castle in this video. I am such a sucker for enemies to lovers. I'm basically a sucker for anything to lovers as long as it's not abusive. So Howls Moving Castle is about this girl named Sophie, and she lives in this land with magic, and in this land there is this great, scary, powerful wizard, the wizard Howl. He has a castle that is magic or designed so that it moves about the countryside, and he's a bit of a local myth. Sophie Hatter, who is a hatter, she makes hats. She's been talking to her hats, and what she doesn't know is that it's imbuing them with magic because she has some magic in her blood. And so she gets on the bad side of this witch who curses her to look like an old woman. So she kind of goes, oh, I don't know what to do. No one can see me. Everyone's going to wonder why I'm suddenly an old woman. So she does the reasonable thing and runs away and ends up working as his cleaning lady. And it is hilarious because Hal is such a drama queen. Holy crap. I mean, if you've seen the movie, he's 10 times worse in the book. He is such a drama queen. And so he kind of gets on Sophie's nerves. And because she's such a bossy old lady, she gets on his nerves. And it goes from there. Number 3 is the Evil Queen. Name a book with a sympathetic antagonist. I'm gonna go with Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder. For that, I am going with Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder. This is one of those that I discovered in high school and I have loved ever frickin' since. Oh my gosh, like this story. I mean, there are a few questionable moments between the main character and her love interest. Not in the like, this is problematic kind of questionable, but in the, really? You're gonna do that here kind of way? This is about Yelena. She lives in kind of a medieval, almost feudal world. It's a dictatorship. Magic has been outlawed and completely driven out of her particular country. She was actually imprisoned, and it was bad enough that she is on death row. She gets approached by the commander's chief of security, who's like, hey, listen, you're gonna die anyways, so why don't you come work for me? I need a new poison tester who can taste the commander's food. Yelena's like, yeah, of course, I'm gonna take that. Die now or die later and maybe have a chance to escape. Let's go with die later. For both of the antagonists in this book, you do kind of start to see their picture, and you might actually start to change your mind about one of them, but I'm not gonna say which one. Number 4 is Ella, or Cinderella, and it's the only season 7 character that I have on this list. We could have had like a 14 question thing, but I didn't want to make it too long. Your favorite retelling. Now, this does not have to be a retelling of a fairy tale. Just your favorite retelling of any story ever. For some people, that might be like a retelling of Hamlet because they love Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. I am going to go with The Storyteller's Daughter by Cameron Doki. It is a retelling of Scheherazad's story. In case you hadn't noticed by watching my channel, I really like Scheherazad's, like the 1001 Arabian Nights. I really like stories that are from Scheherazad's point of view. I just find it interesting, and she's so clever and witty and kick-ass because she just walks into the situation and takes control of it, and it is fantastic. This one is a little different from The Wrath and the Dawn. Like, Scheherazade has been raised to be a storyteller in this one, and so she decides that she is going to save the world, or save the country from the king. It still uses magic, in a very interesting way, but it's set up so that the king actually has been cursed so that he can no longer love and trust. And so it's up to Scheherazade to break that curse. Number 5 is him. Your favorite ordinary hero. So like the guy that nobody expects to be heroic or do heroic things, but still manages to do them. I am going to go with The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Now, I know most people would probably go with Katniss, and usually I would go with Katniss, but I just felt like giving Peeta Mellark a little bit of love because people get on him for being a sensitive guy, and I just think that he is the best for being a sensitive guy. If you have been living under a rock, Hunger Games takes place in Panem. It is a dystopian society. At one point there was a rebellion, and the rebellion got struck down by the capital, and so to keep the rebellion from happening again, there are 12 districts, so every year each district has to send 2 contestants to the Hunger Games, where the contestants basically battle to the death in this really high-tech, high-danger arena. I loved The Hunger Games. I can still remember where I was when I finished this book, and I didn't have the next one, and it was a disaster. But I love Peeta Mellark. They try to make him into something else, but he still is so good at staying true to himself and who he wants to be, and he's so sweet and kind, and I don't think you see a lot of that. Like, you hear a lot about, like, that bad boy, like, that the butthole that, like, she falls in love with anyways. Like, you can legitimately see why someone would fall in love with Peeta, because he is, listen, he's just basically everything a woman wants. He's kind, he listens to you, and he bakes bread, guys. What more could you want in a man? Number 6 is Rumpelstiltskin. Name a book with a pretty cover, but a dark story on the inside. For that one, I'm going with A Wounded Name by Dot Hutchison. If you don't know, this is a retelling of Hamlet from Ophelia's point of view, and it gets dark and it gets twisted, but look at this cover. Hold on, I'm gonna get it closer. Do you guys see that? That is just, it is one of the prettiest covers I have ever seen. Now, I will say there are trigger warnings in this for assault and violence against women because it is Hamlet, and Hamlet is thoroughly screwed up. But it is one of the only versions of Hamlet that I like because it makes Hamlet's erratic behavior make sense. Also, the mythology behind this is really cool. Number 7 is Captain Hook. You knew I couldn't get through this without putting in Killian Jones because I love me some Killian Jones. He's my second favorite character. At number 7 is a book with your favorite character intro. I'm going with A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. Listen, y'all. Lila Bard's introduction in this series is fantastic. I loved Lila as a character. She literally, she's introduced by, she's stealing from someone. It's great. The plot of this book, which if you have not read the Shades of Magic series, you need to read the Shades of Magic series. It's amazing. The story behind this is basically there are 3 parallel worlds. There used to be 4, but that one was completely desecrated and closed off due to like a magical virus. But you have Grey London, which is our London and Lila's London. Red London, where there's plenty of magic and many magic users, which is Kel's London. And White London, where magic is slowly dying out. There are very few magic users and people like basically fight over whatever scraps of magic they can get. Kel accidentally brings something from White London that is very, very bad for the rest of the Londons and starts spreading this contagious magic that starts corrupting people. And so he has to deal with that for 3 more books. Good job, Kel. Good job. Question number 8 is Emma Swan. Your favorite kick-ass female character. I will not lie, I almost went with Inej Gaffa on this one, but Inej was my answer for another question on my superhero tag, so I was like, I need to pick a different one. I picked Cami Morgan from the Gallagher Girls series. This one is fantastic because I discovered it in high school, read the first 3 books, was really sad that that was the end of the series, reread them during my college days, like right before graduation, and then discovered that there was a 4th book and a 5th book coming out soon. What fangirl can have a better day than that? Allie Carter's Gallagher Girls series is about Cami Morgan. She goes to the Gallagher Academy. There's an official name. Hold on. The official name is the Gallagher Academy for Exceptional Young Women, which is basically a spy school. She is known as Cami the Chameleon because she can basically merge into any crowd and no one sees her because she's just that good, not because she has superpowers. She's a very normal girl, except for the fact that her mom runs a spy school. We're winding down to the very final question, and question number 9 is Captain Swan. Who is your OTP? I have many OTPs because I am a fangirl and we cannot choose just one, but I do usually have one per fandom. My OTP to end all OTPs. Now get this, I have been shipping these 2 since I was 6 years old. 6. Like, I was a shipper before I knew what shipping was. It's Batman and Catwoman from Batman. Like, I watched the animated series as a kid in the 90s and I loved Catwoman. Like, I thought she was so cool and obviously was the only person worthy of Batman's affection. Now it is the other way around. I think she's so cool and the only person worthy of her affection is Batman. It's a very interesting story because I really liked Selena at the very, very beginning when I was a little kid, and then people were like, oh no, she's the bad guy. You can't like her. She can't be with Batman. And I was like, oh, okay. And then the Dark Knight trilogy, Batman Begins, came out. And I was like, I need to read some Batman comics. And I ended up picking this one up. It was like one of the first comics I picked up. I don't know. It was one of the first comics I picked up. And I fell in love with Catwoman as a character all over again. Like, she is just such an interesting, nuanced character. And I love them together because they're such an interesting, nuanced couple that, like, it works. They work. Like, even through their hard times, they're there for each other and get each other out of trouble. I mean, he doesn't necessarily support her stealing, but, like, when she gets herself in deep, he's like, fine, I'll come help. I am so happy that DC is finally doing them right. Thank you, Tom King. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, sir. You have made a 6-year-old's dreams come true. so as far as tagging people, this is a weird tag, and I don't know how many of my people are Once Upon a Time people, so I am gonna tag you if you want to do this tag. Please, if you do this tag, like, tag me on Twitter. I'm at the word nerd with a 3 instead of the E. That is also my Instagram handle if you want to hear me talk about books on a daily basis and suggest new books. That is it for now, my friends. I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!